Plans crumble, comfort disappears, what you thought would be simple becomes complicated. The road you chose starts throwing obstacles at you, one after another, and right then, right at that exact moment, you are presented with a choice. You can back off, complain, blame the situation, blame someone else, blame the unfairness of life, or you can lean into it. You can stare the challenge in the face and say, "Bring it." Accept all challenges involved. That's the mindset, that's the standard, that's the discipline, because the second you accept only some of the challenges, only the easy ones, only the convenient ones, you lose, you soften, you rot, and the mission dies. The mission doesn't care about your excuses. The mission doesn't care that you're tired. The mission doesn't care that it's hard. It demands effort, consistency, and ownership. The mission demands you to carry the load, no matter how heavy, no matter how broken your body feels, no matter how uncertain the future seems. Travis Barnes knows this. He lived this. He didn't read it in a book. He didn't hear it in a motivational quote. He lived it, faced it, battled it. A man who stood face to face with rock bottom, not once, not twice, but over and over, and each time he chose to rise, not because it was easy, not because someone told him to, but because the mission was still alive, because there were still challenges to accept. He didn't run from adversity, he ran into it, he embraced the struggle, and that's where the growth came from. That's where the discipline was forged. That's where strength was built, not in comfort, but in chaos, not in luxury, but in loss, not in security, but in uncertainty, because life doesn't ask you if you're ready. It doesn't knock politely, it kicks the damn door down, and when it does, you better be standing there, ready to engage. You better be standing there, ready to suffer. You better be standing there, ready to win. People say they want to succeed. They say they want purpose, fulfillment, strength, but they only want it when it's clean, when it's smooth, when it's convenient, and that's where they fail. Success isn't found in convenience. It's found in chaos. Discipline isn't developed when things are easy. It's developed when everything is falling apart and you still keep moving forward. Purpose isn't uncovered in silence. It's uncovered in the storm. And Travis, he stood in the middle of that storm, not with a perfect plan, not with a guarantee, but with a decision. The decision to accept all challenges involved. That's what matters. When you make that decision, you change everything. Not just in business, not just in fitness, but in life. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop compromising with comfort. You stop looking for the shortcut, and instead, you face the long road. You accept the pain. You welcome the suffering. You take ownership of every single obstacle that stands in your way, because that's where progress lives, that's where leadership lives, that's where honor lives. Accepting all challenges doesn't mean you won't fall. It means you'll stand back up every time. Accepting all challenges doesn't mean it won't hurt. It means the pain won't stop you. Accepting all challenges doesn't mean you're invincible. It means your mission is more important than your feelings. You've got to live with that mindset. You've got to push with that mindset. You've got to lead with that mindset, because there are people counting on you. There are people looking up to you. There are lives that will be impacted by the decisions you make. And if you fold, if you cave, if you let the pressure break you instead of build you, then you've already lost. So don't fold, don't quit, don't retreat when the challenges come. Accept them, all of them. Because that's what warriors do. That's what leaders do. That's what winners do. And that's how you build a life worth living. No shortcuts, no complaints, no compromise, only the work, only the sacrifice. Only the discipline. Accept all challenges involved and carry on. Discipline means accepting every challenge, especially the hard ones, without complaint, compromise, or retreat. It starts the moment your eyes open in the morning, when the alarm hits and your body wants comfort. Your mind wants just a few more minutes of sleep, but you say no, because you know discipline is not based on what you feel, it's based on what you decide. You get up not because it's easy, but because it's right. You move your feet to the cold floor, and you start your routine because the day doesn't care if you're ready. The mission doesn't wait for your motivation, and the enemy doesn't ask if you feel like showing up. The challenge is already there, waiting for you, and the only way to face it is with unwavering, relentless discipline. It doesn't matter how tired you are. It doesn't matter how unfair the situation is. It doesn't matter how much pressure you're under. The standard is non-negotiable. You show up anyway, you grind anyway, you push anyway, you accept it all, and that means the hard things, the setbacks, the injuries, the losses, the unexpected changes, the betrayal, the failure, the sleepless nights, the long hours, the solitude, the heavy responsibility, the mental weight, the emotional cost, the quiet suffering no one sees, the uphill battles no one else is willing to fight. That's where discipline lives. That's where warriors are made. That's where leaders are forged. When the world is caving in, when your legs are giving out, when your hands are shaking, when your thoughts start whispering to quit, that's the moment you go silent, dig deeper, and say to yourself, I will not stop. Because the discipline is not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's total. It means you don't need to be motivated, you just need to remember who you are. It means when others complain, you stay quiet and work. When others look for excuses, you look for action. When others retreat, you advance. When others compromise their values to feel better, you reinforce yours and keep moving forward. You don't lower the standard to make the challenge easier, you raise your effort to meet the challenge head-on. You embrace the grind not because it's glamorous but because it's necessary. You choose pain because comfort kills potential. You embrace fatigue because that's where growth is born. You welcome adversity because it's the only way to get stronger. The world throws chaos and you bring order. The world throws distractions and you stay focused. The world throws weakness and you stand firm in strength. Not once, not twice, but every single day, every single moment. Because the second you let up, the second you let a little compromise slip through, the second you make an excuse and think it's small, you've opened the door for decay, and decay is silent. It doesn't destroy you in one blow. It eats away at you slowly. The little choices, the skipped reps, the missed opportunities, the laziness disguised as rest, the distraction disguised as leisure, the comfort disguised as recovery. You start saying just this once, and then that once becomes a habit. That habit becomes a lifestyle, and before you know it, you're no longer in control of yourself. You've lost your edge, you've lost your fire, you've let the challenge beat you. That's why discipline has to be all in. Every challenge, not just the ones that feel doable, not just the ones that are in your comfort zone, not just the ones where you already know the outcome, but the ones that terrify you, the ones that test your limits. The ones that hurt, the ones that put everything you are on trial. That's where the truth shows up. That's where you prove you're not just someone who talks about discipline, but someone who lives it. When the work is brutal, when the pressure is crushing, when you're alone in the fight, that's when your discipline becomes real, not when you post about it, not when people are watching, not when it's convenient. But when no one sees, when the reward isn't guaranteed, when the pain feels pointless but you keep going anyway, that's the test, and you either pass or you fold. There's no in between, there's no partial credit. There's no good enough, there's only yes or no. Did you accept the challenge or not? Did you keep your word or not? Did you show up or not? Did you uphold the standard or not? Discipline is binary. You either live it or you don't, and when you live it, it becomes part of who you are. It becomes automatic, not because it got easier, but because you got harder, you got sharper, you got better. You trained your mind to say yes to pain and no to weakness. You conditioned your body to show up even when it's exhausted. You trained your spirit to keep going when everything inside you wants to stop. And that kind of discipline, that kind of unwavering resolve, that kind of deep internal grit, it changes how you operate. You don't look at problems the same way. You don't complain. You don't wait. You don't need permission. You go, you move, you act, and when people ask how you keep doing it, how you keep going, how you stay consistent, you don't need to say anything. Because the results speak for themselves, the strength shows, the leadership is undeniable, the presence is unshakable. People feel it when you walk in the room because they know you've paid the price. You've suffered, you've bled, you've sacrificed, you've lost sleep, you've made the hard calls, you've walked away from comfort, you've faced your demons, you've wrestled with fear, you've chosen the narrow path over the easy one, and you kept going, not once, but always, because you live by a code of discipline, a code of personal ownership, a code of accountability, a code that demands the best version of you, not some of the time, but all of the time. And that kind of code is not for everyone. Most people won't live like that. Most people will choose comfort. Most people will chase ease. Most people will look for the shortcut. But you're not most people. You're the exception. You're the one who doesn't quit. You're the one who doesn't retreat. You're the one who accepts all challenges involved and never looks for a way out. You're the one who wakes up early, trains hard, studies relentlessly, plans precisely, executes ruthlessly, and repeats it every single day, not because it's fun, not because you're special, but because that's the cost of greatness. That's the price of excellence. That's the burden of leadership, and you carry it with pride. You carry it with strength. You carry it with silence because you don't need applause. You don't need validation. You don't need recognition. You just need the next challenge, the next test, the next obstacle to overcome, because every time you do, you build more confidence, more clarity, more conviction, more momentum. You become harder to kill, harder to stop, harder to shake. You become the kind of person people depend on in a crisis, the kind of person people follow in the dark, the kind of person who doesn't flinch when the pressure rises, the kind of person who sets the tone, sets the standard, sets the example, and that only comes from discipline, pure, unfiltered, unyielding discipline, the kind that doesn't make excuses, the kind that doesn't ask for fairness, the kind that doesn't break when things go sideways, because that's life. It will go sideways. It will be unfair. It will be hard. You will get knocked down. You will be underestimated. You will face resistance. But that's not the point. The point is, will you still show up? Will you still execute? Will you still rise? Will you still fight? Will you still win the internal war before you face the external one? Because that's where it all begins. That's where the real battle is, inside you, inside your thoughts, inside your choices, inside your routines, inside your decisions, inside your discipline. And once you take control of that, once you dominate yourself, the rest of the world has no chance. There's no opponent more dangerous than a disciplined man. There's no storm stronger than a man who's mastered himself, and that's what you are becoming, one decision at a time, one hard choice at a time. One brutal morning at a time, one painful setback at a time, one sacrifice at a time, you are building something that can't be broken, something that can't be taken, something that can't be faked, something that can't be bought. Discipline is the foundation of it all. It is the weapon, it is the armor, it is the fire, it is the edge, and it doesn't come from talk. It comes from action, repetition, consistency, pressure, time. You either accept all challenges involved or you don't. You either rise or you fall. You either lead or you follow. You either build or you break. And that choice will be made every day in the dark. In the cold, in the pain, in the fatigue, in the doubt, in the fire, and every time you choose to show up, to fight, to lead, to carry, to endure, to outwork, to outlast, to discipline everyone else, you win. Even if no one sees, even if no one claps, even if no one thanks you, you win because you kept the promise you made to yourself. You stayed on the path, you held the line, you honored the code, you didn't flinch. You didn't run, you didn't bow, you accepted every challenge, and you didn't retreat.